All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Forge Coffee Break. This is the episode number 37, and today is the last coffee break of the year. We'll be back again in January. We're skipping the next one that is happening between Christmas and New Year. But yeah, welcome. And let me open to you. If you have any topics or questions that you'd like to bring up. I see a lot of new names today, a lot of people actually. So thank you for joining. Any questions or topic that you'd like to bring up? Oh, hi, Dennis. Nice hat.
His family's on vacation, so he's probably got the heat turned off in his house.
Oh, okay. Saving energy, I guess.
Actually, yes, but I have a chimney, so I'm using it at maximum.
Okay.
I like it much.
Cool. All right. Any other questions or topics? As this, oh, I have one here. Rachel, right? Yes. Can the NS compass circle be affected separately by view cube? And if so, how? Oh, north and south, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, north and south compass circle can be affected separately from the view cube. I don't know. Can you try elaborate a bit?
Yeah, so we're upgrading from 729 to 758. And something that's happening, and I posed it as more of a general question because I'm totally not sure, like it could be a bug in our code. But the view cube and the north, south, east, west circle that surrounds it are misaligned with each other, but the view cube appears to be correctly aligned with the model and everything else. It's just that the circle is a little bit off. So I was curious if you've ever seen something like that. If not, totally fine, but I just wanted to get your thoughts.
I've never seen it. I'm thinking, is this a Revit model?
I don't
or
think
in general?
so.
Oh, it's
Just in general.
model.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen that before. Anyone else?
No, I haven't seen that either. It might be a bug, or to be honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be a bug on our side, I mean.
Oh.
I think the thing to check is going to be the AEC model data being loaded. And if that's not loaded, then there's almost no chance of it being correct. But if the AEC model data is loading and it's a Revit file, those should align. If they don't align, then yeah, that's a bug on our side.
Yeah, because I suspect that the north-south alignment comes from the model, which is different from the view cube, top, bottom, etc. So which is a
Okay.
sorry. So yeah, sorry. Let me start again. The top, left, etc. That's from the translation of the model. So when we get a model, we translate, and let's say it's a Revit model. So it's the up will be up to the house, right? But if you're getting like a DWF file, the up can be different depending on what you have. Now, the north and south, I believe that comes from the AC data, which applies to Revit models. The other models will not have that AC data. That AC data dictates that a model is located at this position, align it like that, right? Depending on the project location. So that's why I was asking if that was a Revit model. Now, with all of that said, if the same model and essentially the same code was working on 728 and now it's not working again on 750, something that you said, yeah, please submit to us the precise versions. If you can also attach a few print screens. And my last suggestion as well is to try at the viewer.autodesk.com, which is the free viewer. And that's using the same viewer that you have, except that there's not a lot of configuration there, right? So you can quickly try in here, and it's still not work. So that should be like it should work here, right? Just in case you have some configuration or plugins running on your code that can be affecting that.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's a lot of helpful ways to troubleshoot. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where would I submit that question? Is Stack Overflow the best place, or?
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
we monitor Stack Overflow. So just make sure to add the Autodesk -viewer tag, and you can definitely post there. And we can help. We will help. Sorry, because that will appear on our system. But also others can help, right? Maybe someone else saw that before. But if you need a private support, you don't want to post it on Stack Overflow because there is some data, whatever. You can just say to forge.help@autodesk.com. It goes to the same list of questions. We answer them on the same order of priority. So either way.
Okay, awesome.
It's more a
Thanks
matter.
so
It's more a
much.
matter of if you want to share link on Stack Overflow or not.
Got you. Thank you. Appreciate
And
it.
there's also now a third way to contact us. If you can crash Amazon, then you'll get our full attention.
Yeah, we experienced that as well. That was crazy.
So I see that Vinit raised hand. You can open your microphone.
Yeah, I had a question. So basically, we have a Revit model, right? And it's a linked model. So when we are, and it's hosted on BIM 360 docs. So when we are trying to see the model in BIM 360 docs, it would not show up, like it would not show all the model elements. And we were wondering why would that be? So when I open the Revit model in my local, it would show up all the views, all the visibility settings are set as show. And all we're trying to do is, the aim here is to load that model in a Forge application, but the Forge viewer was simply failing. So we said, okay, let's try to see what we see in BIM 360 and then check what's wrong with the Forge viewer. So what we realized there is we don't see a bunch of elements. We see really, really few elements, like maybe 20% of the actual elements. It could be lesser also. Yeah.
Okay, so you are saying that you upload a model, Revit model to BIM 360, and in BIM 360 you don't see the views you see on your local machine.
Yeah, and it's a linked model. Okay.
So first thing to make sure is that that you have selected the views for translation, right? So your Revit model can have hundreds, thousands of views. So you have to select which views you want.
Right.
BIM, it will only translate the default 3D view, and everything else you have to select. So you go to the select views and sheets to publish, and then you can specify all the views you want.
Yeah, I think we have done that already. I'll recheck, but I believe we were. I think it couldn't be the size of the model. The model is about 8 gigs. The combined model.
Yeah. So if the size should not affect partial translation, right? The model will either succeed or fail, right? So if the model is succeeding, but it's missing views, so it's because of this. So if the model is failing, then you may have too many views selected and the translation is failing. Now, with all of that said, if you have linked models, because you said you have linked files, right?
Yeah.
When you upload to BIM 360, you have to upload all the linked files with that file. And if you are uploading manually on the BIM 360 interface, you have to put them on the same folder. If you are using the publish option, then you go from Revit desktop and you say publish, and Revit will take care of your linked files.
Okay. Right. And one other thing what we were facing in BIM 360 is when I was trying to select an element and look at the properties, I couldn't see the properties. It was loading forever. So even for the element that I see in BIM 360, I wasn't able to see the properties.
Okay. So that's a different one. So what you can do for us is, for that specific model, get the URN of the model and then send that to us on our support system. So with the URN, so do you know how to get the URN?
Yeah.
Okay. So send us the URN saying this model I can open on BIM 360, I can view it, but the property panel is not loading. Then we can investigate why that specific model is not working. Maybe it's related to the size of the model that you said. The property database is somehow getting corrupted, but that should not happen. And with the URN, we can investigate.
Got it. So these are two separate issues also, you're saying, right? Got it. Okay.
Well, they may be related, but you know, if you see the model and everything is there on the 3D view, but the 2D views are not showing, or other 3D views are not showing, then you have to select them here. And this is not a problem. This is a by design, right? You have to select the views.
Okay.
The second one is if you're opening a model and the property panel is not loading, then there's something else going on, right? And that should not happen.
Got it. Makes sense. Okay.
Just a quick question. You're loading the 3D model in your own version of, in your own separate Forge viewer.
That was our aim. We started with that, but it failed. Right in the Forge viewer, in our application that has Forge viewer. That's when we went to 360 and tried to see, okay, what's happening in 360 and is it something that we are missing, right? So
when you tried it the first time, did you use Forge buckets and uploaded the Revit files and linked to the Revit files that way, or
no,
did you
we
just leave
directly
everything on
loaded
360?
Yeah, we picked up the model that already had the linked files. So all the linked files and the base model was on BIM 360, and we pulled the base model using the base models current. Because for every other project, we are doing it for multiple projects, it's working. For this one, it failed.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's good to know. The second thing to check is just make sure if you are doing your own Forge viewer, just make sure it's loading the SVF2 version of it. BIM 360
it is
now
it
loading.
is, but
It
I'll
is.
recheck. It is.
Okay. Yeah, sounds like everything should be working. So I think Augusto's right at this point. We kind of need to investigate it.
Okay.
If you allow me to add something, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, it's happened to me a couple of times because sometimes the model derivative it's like stuck. It's like usually even like without the 3D viewer, when you prepare to the data, first of all you get 202 to prepare the JSON, and then you get 200, which is the response is okay. So I recommend you just republish one more time, like change something, like move an element or create element, delete element inside Revit, and then republish the model with the links.
We tried that, no change.
Okay, then something more wrong than I expected.
Yeah. So yeah, the URN definitely send that to us. We can take a look at what's happening to that specific model because the properties are not showing. Properties should show up. What Abed is also saying is that if you call the model derivative endpoint to get the metadata, the first time you call it, you get a 201, meaning that we're still processing that. And but that's only if you're doing a server-side call to get the metadata, not loading the viewer on your application or on BIM 360. That is using a different route.
Yeah, it's 202, and if you do receive 202, you just call it again until you get a 200, and that just tells you that the metadata is ready.
Ready. Yeah. Thank you, Kevin.
Got it. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Very good question. Good question today.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, hi, Vinu. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Like I have some question. Like I'm sharing some my screen. Like you can see. Like I'm facing some.
Are you sharing something? You said.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen.
No, you are not yet.
Not yet, but I'm going to share.
Ah, okay, sure. Okay, waiting for it. Okay, now it's coming.
Yeah, actually, like I'm working with the simulation part with the Forge viewer.
Did we lose you? I cannot hear you anymore.
Yeah, it's loading actually.
Okay, sure. It went silent, so okay.
Yeah, sometimes it will like rendering of model will take some time. Like huge data is there with the building. Yeah, here you can see. Yeah, here you can see that like my screen based on the timelines, like based on the time dates and times, like I'm going to showing the progress of the building of the model.
Okay, really cool. It's a very large model. Are you using SVF2?
Yeah.
I believe it contained some huge links as well.
Show one more.
Okay, so just to understand, are you showing that to us, or are you going to ask something about that one, just so we know what?
Yeah, just want to like I'm asking like the performance, like how can I improve the performance of this?
Oh, okay. And you said you're using SVF2.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm showing the progress of the model as is versus as planned, like as planned versus as is.
Yeah. So it's hard to tell where is the performance not going well here, because I think you are using a virtual machine and then it's transmitting over Zoom. So there is no real time here, right? We cannot see it from here.
Okay.
So I would say that this is a very specific one. We can definitely help you fine tune some pieces.
Okay.
What I would suggest you is to go to, once you finish, I can show you how to book a time with someone on our team, and we can definitely review settings with you, right? To
really
see
quickly,
where...
one option is to skip the property DB and then grab the information for each ID, in other words, the phase information, and pull that into your own database. So you'll have a database that has ID objects, the DB IDs, and each DB ID will have the phase. And then as you change that slider, you'll query your database to find out which IDs to colorize. And that stops the Forge viewer from loading the entire properties database. It's such a large model that you can save a bit of load time and performance by not loading that property database on the client and instead querying your own database for the information you need, which is the phase information.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. Like I pull the whole data at once a time, but in the TS, like in the TypeScript file, like Angular side, like I'm filtering based on the date while rendering the elements to the model. Only one DB call is happened only one single time. Then after, like I can filter the data based on the dates. But right now
so
I'm doing this.
Yeah, okay. So that date information to get the phase, you're going to move that into your own property database. And you'll call your property database to find out what IDs to color based on a date.
Yes.
Yeah, so instead of doing it, you're moving it off the client and putting it into your own, doing the query on your server.
Okay.
Are you using?
What's going on under the hood is you've got a very large model, and the large
It's a
model
very large model.
Yeah, and it's got all of the properties on the client. So the client is it's going to download those properties, and it's going to process those properties. And you don't use any of them except for one small field, which is the date. So what you want to do is just extract out the date, put that into your a side system, a database, and then tell the browser, tell Forge Viewer not to load all those properties, and that way you can save some load time and some render performance.
Okay.
May I ask, are you using React or something similar to React as front end?
Angular.
Okay, so maybe you should, because maybe I'm afraid that the browser, it's re-rendering all the time.
No.
Also, maybe you should look at this.
No, browser is not rendering like every time, like when it's a single page application, right? In single time only, and the like page will be loaded.
I'm just sharing. So Mike was suggesting to remove the database or not load the database. So this article shows how to do that. You can just skip that. And yeah, so essentially it's fine tuning your application to avoid loading extra data. That should speed up the process.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you know how to skip the database as Michael?
Yeah, I already kept the skip DB property true, but even when I'm going to see the elements of the properties of the element, like then I can't get the properties right when I skip the property DB.
Yeah. Yes, that will. If you don't have the database, then you are not. You don't have that part of the information. Yeah, I think the main point is one of the main points, of course, is that if you have a lot of data on your browser, it takes longer to generate the geometry for you. So you're reducing the amount of memory and even simplifying the model.
Yeah, I kept like some of the properties which you in the Autodesk documentation. I followed that. I kept those features which are like Autodesk memory limited and such one type of property. Like that, some of the properties I kept some coming to recent one for the large models for SVF2 I updated, like then the performance is a little bit more than the previous one. Yeah, but I want to like more speed rather than which we are expecting currently, like which I am showing like to the client. He is expecting performance side. He's asking about to like more interactive way. Like he's no need to wait till all he unable to touch elements until unless rendering of that whole part of that viewer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do is probably take this offline. There's lots of options here to improve that, but there'll be some trade-offs.
Augusto, can you share the link with us, the one you skipped the database?
Yes, here. Let me share that. All right, it's on the chat window. And as I was mentioning, you can book a time with the people on the team. So just go to the community and go to all events.
Yeah, in the calendar, right?
Yes. So this will be to really look at your code and specifically how you're loading the model. Maybe there's some pieces we can avoid or skip or fix here and there. And as Michael mentioned, how you are doing the timeline, right? So if you avoid searching.
Basically, I'm using interval for moving the dates moving +1. I'm adding the dates by incrementing the dates one by one. Or we can increase like a +7 or as per our wish. Like we can add the dates. We can navigate to from 1 to 7 days, 7 to 14 days.
So yeah, please book a time with the team And let me just bring something else here that next week and the week after, we are going to be offline with the winter break. But after that, in January, we're back. So most of the team will be offline next week and the week after. We still have some last minute or urgent questions, but if you have an important question, please post this week before, actually today, so you can close, we can answer you before going offline. And just before we finish, we are very close to it. Hai was asking about the Forge calculator that is helping him to estimate cost for design automation. So yes, you can use this one. Just keep in mind that this is an estimation, right? Looking at, so how it works is that based on thousands and thousands of executions we have on design automation, a very simple or average job of a file that is this size usually takes, let me add here, usually takes 6 seconds to execute, right? So this should give you some rough numbers to start understanding. But yeah, so that's the main idea. Hope I'm getting your question.
Yeah, because some of our customers want to export some services to PDF, or some of them want to export the inventor to step file. So they want to calculate how much credit to use before they click.
Yeah. So export to a format is usually really fast because it's just essentially opening and saving. So if, let's say, inventor is a half meg size and you are running 30 times a month, usually takes 9 seconds to open a file and execute something on it, right? So yeah, that can give you some estimation, and you have to experiment a bit and make sure that the files you have are really running on this time here.
Okay, thank you.
And just be sure this is not this is an estimator, right? This is not calculating your actual consumption. It's just helping you estimate how much you have.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, I'm sorry, Augusto, can you talk a little bit about the calculator and estimating design automation costs?
Yes. So you just explain a bit more about this piece here, Michael. That's what you're talking.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, things like the startup time and the data transfer time, those sort of questions which came up for me recently.
Yeah. So design automation total cost. Oops, cost. So there is I have another blog that went out a few months ago.
It's from Adam, right? Oh, you.
With Adam and Varun. Yes. So it's just explained that when you run a job work item on design automation, we charge you from the download started to the upload end, which includes the time that it takes us to download the file from the source location all the way to upload the results back to the destination, including and the execution. So that's how much we charge you. And on this article, we show you some experimentation with S3 in different locations. And just so you know, when the files are very, very large, like 1 gig, 2 gig, that may affect you.
Yes.
So yeah, so these are interesting points to think about. Now back to the calculator, and I just paste the link on the chat window. Now back to the calculator. This is not looking at those times individually. It's looking at design automation, and for a specific time frame, we said, okay, give me all the design automation work items, which includes from start download to end upload, get that time, and then average them by the file size, right? So what I'm saying is that looking at that huge database of work items, every time we see a 500 kilobyte file, we get the super simple, which is the lowest time we see, simple, which is the medium. So let me open this much easier here, right? So yeah, so the minimum time we observed, the medium, the average, complex, which is the top 5, and the super complex, which is the maximum that we see. So looking at that huge database of all the work items, this is what we see, right? So let's say an inventor of 500 kilobytes, simple, usually takes, let me delete this here, usually takes 9 seconds. But if I go to the complex and add here, the top 5% most complex jobs we see for 500 kilobytes takes 18 seconds. The maximum, it's usually 111 seconds, right? So that's the maximum we see for 500 kilobytes. Again, this is to help because your script may vary a lot. So looking at what we see on our history.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And we are a bit over time. Let me move here. And why is not, oh, let me stop share and share again, desktop. PowerPoint here. Okay, so as I said, the next coffee break will be January 12th. The next one is should be December 29. We're skipping this one and coming back on the new year. And with that, thank you for this amazing year. I know it's challenging for everyone, but thank you for coming every other week here and discuss the topics. It's always very good to see what you guys are doing. And hope to see you, keep seeing you after the new year on January 12th. Thank you again.
Thanks, Kevin and
Thanks.
Michael. Happy holidays, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. You too,
Thanks,
right?
Manny.
Happy holidays.
Good to
Happy
see you, mate.
holidays.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Holidays. Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year.
Bye.
Happy holidays.